we are at Windfall Orchards. It's 4th of July and it's about 6:30 in the morning and we're getting ready to take off and look for some chanterelles. We had some rain last night and we've had a good amount of rain the last few weeks, so I'm pretty hopeful and confident that we'll find the elusive chanterelle today. So off we head. Before we get started, I'm going to just talk about a couple things. One of the things a mushroom hunter or forager uses is a nice basket, usually low and wide, so that they don't crush each other. One of the other things that I carry is a GPS, and that way we don't get lost in the woods. It's also good, especially this time of year, to carry some really good bug spray so that you're not carried off by the bugs. And the other thing that you'll need is a nice sharp knife for cutting the mushrooms. And I use a little pear-handled knife from France for that. One word of caution, the rule of thumb when you hunt mushrooms is you never eat any mushrooms you're not 100% sure of. If you're 99% sure of them, that's not good enough, because there's no room for error. Usually I'll refer to 5 different sources to confirm a mushroom's identity that I'm not aware of. So just a word of caution as you go out. For those who may have never gone mushrooming, I would strongly recommend that you go with someone who knows what they're doing. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and start looking for some mushrooms. Chanterelles have a very unique flavor profile. Unlike any other mushroom, they have almost a slight apricot aroma and very distinct flavor that is sweet and pleasing. It's by far the most popular mushroom that I sell, and this past week at the market, which was our first week with chanterelles, we sold about 20 pounds and sold out about an hour and a half before the end of the market. So this week we'll hope to bring at least that many more pounds, provided that we can find them. A mix of hardwood and hemlock is generally very conducive for chanterelle. We're in this little section, we've got some trees down, creates a nice habitat for the mushrooms to grow and to live, and so we have some beautiful chanterelles here, and we're going to cut a few of them. General rule is you never want to take more than about 20–30% of what you find, so that you can renew the resource, as it were, so that each year the mushrooms will come back, and each year the mushrooms will come back in this same location. So I'll make a note of where I found these so that next year I can come back and pick them again. Generally, the smaller buttons are denser and less moist, and so they give up a little less water when you cook them. But they're all lovely. The flavor really doesn't change much between a big one and a little one. The season for chanterelles generally runs from the last week of June to approximately mid-August. I have found chanterelles as late as early September, but the main season tends to be mid-July is where the biggest flush of the mushrooms will come through. The rest of these we'll leave so that they can spore for next year. So we're wrapping up a very successful morning of chanterelle mushroom foraging. Foraging is a really great hobby, but a dangerous one, and so it's important to know that you should never, if you've never foraged before, don't go by yourself. It's always best to find a mentor or someone who's familiar and knowledgeable about foraging to go with. If you're interested in getting to know more about foraging, I would encourage you to pick up any number of great books that are on the shelves about foraging and wild mushrooms. The number one thing that I would recommend is to gain as much knowledge as possible.